We brought the case, we physically went to Pennsylvania, which was important, to make the case directly to their legislators that they have a constitutional and solemn responsibility here, that just because the Secretary of State of a place like Pennsylvania and some of these other states, particularly where they have really corrupt Democratic state officials, just because they say the vote is certified is not the end of the story. The Constitution says otherwise. It's up to the legislatures.
Right.
And so we want to, number one, we want to equip them with information, these individual legislators. We want them educated and equipped on what actually happened in their own states. And then they need to make the very hard decision of whether or not, in fact, these so-called certifications are valid, because we believe in many cases they are not, again, in places like Pennsylvania. And, this is not us doing, I think the corporate media wants to paint it as though we're trying to do some sort of end around, or this is somehow using a loophole. No, this is exactly what the Constitution prescribes and, in fact, demands. It places that heavy responsibility upon the legislators. I believe in at least some of these states, and I think this is important too, John. Obviously, those of us in the Trump campaign, we believe that we won the legal vote. And I think there's a lot of statistical analysis to show the high probability that we actually won the legal vote. But here's the thing. Even if we cannot determine that, even if we can't get the legislators to reach that conclusion and actually win in the Electoral College, or let's say we don't win a contingent election, which can happen, has happened historically, where the House of Representatives by state chooses the next president. It's not optimal, but it is constitutional. It's happened. Even if we don't get that, John, I think it's important, number one, just for our country, that we reveal as much as we can about the fraud and irregularities that occurred on November 3rd. Number two, I think it's important for our movement, for the America First movement, even if we don't prevail, and I believe we're going to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be pessimistic here. But even if we don't prevail and get Donald Trump sworn in for a second term, I think it's important for his movement, for the America First movement, that we as diligently and thoroughly as possible try our best in these coming weeks to reveal what happened. And if we can overturn even just one state, and get it to not certify a Biden win because the vote was so tainted in a place like Pennsylvania, that alone would be a pretty massive win.